Hello, Grant here. I'm back, and guess what? I'm not continuing the Basics of Cancer series. We're done with that. We're moving on to the exciting stuff. This is the really cool bits that we normally don't get to talk about, but now you have a basic understanding of cancer, so we can tell you, and that's really great. I'm here, and I can certainly answer your questions. It's a horrible pun. Please, someone help me out. Better pun, please. Okay, we're going to go right in. Disclaimer, I'm a high school student. Please take this with a grain of salt. This is for educational purposes only. You know the drill. At this point, okay, today we're talking about something that's really exciting because this combines biology and just the most amazing biology stuff with cancer, and it's really cool. It's called oncolytic viruses. Now, that's a phrase most people haven't heard. If you remember onco, that means cancer, because oncology, study of cancer. Oncolytic virus, cancer virus. It doesn't mean it causes cancer. It's much cooler. This is a treatment for cancer, and this is an amazing treatment that isn't really available right now. It's just something that they're looking at, and this is going to be really awesome. Basically, what an oncolytic virus does, it infects and kills cancer cells, just cancer cells, not normal cells. It's human engineered, and it causes cell lysis. If you remember, cell lysis is cell suicide. It basically says, cell, dead, you're gone. Lysosomes bust open, murder everything in the cell, and that's basically how it works. Now, it all kind of began in the 1960s. This is when the real effort began. It was kind of looked at before then, just, oh, theory, this could possibly work. But now, in the 1960s, that's when it started picking up. And they kind of looked at a couple different viruses. They looked at adenoviruses, and then it kind of looked at specific, like measles or herpes simplex virus. Herpes simplex virus is currently the one of choice because it has such a low impact on the body. Like, it can cause cold sores, and that's about it. So it's not really a big deal if it gets messed up and it does the actually causes infection. And once they decide on what virus, they kind of start engineering it genetically, and that's the cool bit. It's engineered for tumor selectivity. It's going to look for a certain type of tumor. So again, I said herpes, easy to manipulate even. That's one of the other big reasons, because it's really easy to change its genetic structure, because it's a really simple virus. And what it can do is it can carry additional genes, and that's where everything kind of starts looking really awesome, because when it can carry additional genes, that means it can contain additional coding for cell lysis. Now, the whole idea is it's really great against metastatic cancers that are spread throughout the body, because guess what a virus does? It spreads throughout the body. It gets everywhere. It'll infect all the cancer cells, theoretically, again, in theory. So it'll get throughout all the body, and that will help deal with metastatic cancers, and it will get the big chunks too. Engineering. This is the really complicated bit, but I'm going to kind of keep it simple, but I'm going to tell you all the cool bits, because this is awesome. Now, attenuation. What they do is they delete the viral genes. These are the genes that would make you sick from the virus. This is what takes over your cells and makes your body be like, no, kill that virus. What it does instead is it deletes the viral function, and then they can add in whatever genes they like. When I said they breed it for tumor selectivity, this is when they would do that. They can do it a couple different ways. It's transductional. Transductional is one way they do it, and they modify the coat proteins. So like they coat it with proteins that match with enzymes that are released by cancer cells. So enzyme here, these two enzymes fit perfectly together. It's like a lock and key. They latch, they get onto each other, and then that's when it starts releasing the different chemicals that will engineer cell lysis. The other way to do it is non-transductional, just non-transductional. It's not some other crazy word. And it will only replicate in a cancer cells. That means it needs to have really active procreation. It needs to be constantly multiplying for that virus to have any chance of replicating itself. They don't do that one nearly as much because it's a little more complicated and it's a lot harder to target. The enzymes, they know this enzyme goes with this enzyme. Bam, done. But the other way, it's non-transductional, just gets a little complicated. All right. Okay. Then they start modifying it. That's kind of them choosing it, attenuating it, just kind of doing the little things. This is when they do the big deal. This is what makes it an impactful kind of thing. They add suicide genes, and that's the cell lysis that I was telling you about. And they can administer a cytotoxin into it. They start with a prodrug, and that prodrug is just like a carrier gene, and when it combines with other things, it forms into a cytotoxin. Cytotoxin basically hits this cell, cytotoxin. It'll kill every cell in this like big circle around it, and that's normally. Okay, when I say big, it's not really big. It just means all the immediate cells. And it's going to kill all the nearby cells, and then it's just going to fade away because it's easily degradable in the body. Your body will itself just clear that away really quickly. And the current one they do with herpes simplex virus is thyroidine kinase. It's just a form of cytotoxin. I don't know a lot of particulars about it. I just wanted to include that for completeness of information. Once it links, then it releases a cytotoxin, and that's one way that they do it. The other way is they stop angiogenesis. I don't think I went into angiogenesis before, so I'm going to go briefly now. Angiogenesis is the process by which tumor cells get their oxygen and food. Basically, they create their own blood supply. They reroute blood vessels and get it just to the tumor. And that's why cancer can be really dangerous, because it keeps a lot of the nutrients from your body and instead gives it to that single little patch of tumor cells. So what this one does is it stops the angiogenesis. It says no more blood vessel formation. And that can be a little harmful to the body too, but it always impacts cancer cells more because they need their own set of blood vessels because they burn through nutrients and oxygen at a much higher rate than any normal cell because of their rapid reproduction cycle. And they're not efficient because of their organelles being all in the wrong places. Basically what it does, it drowns the tumor cells. It oxygen starves them. Now, there are some problems, like some of the people watching these would know that your immune system doesn't really like viruses being in there, and sometimes what can happen is your immune system kills off the virus before it can have any effect on the tumor cells. So basically it'll just inactivate the virus, which is normally, that would be a pretty big problem. But you need to remember, most forms of conventional treatments for cancers also include not tumor suppression. They do include tumor suppression. That's the whole point. But they're also immunosuppressants, which means the immune system is just kind of all screwed up. You're really susceptible to diseases. So that's why this is really effective, actually, in cancer treatments and not nearly as effective in other treatments. It will go in, and because the immune system is weak, it can always get to the tumors, which is really cool. It's like symbiosis there. That's amazing. That's really good planning there. Now, if they're not really an immune deficient patient, what they can do is they can coat it with a polymer. It's called polyethylene glycol. Basically, it's not recognized as a virus. It's stealth mode, it's the cloaking device on the ship, it's whatever you want to call it. Basically, it sneaks in under the radar. Now, the other cool thing that the immune system will do with this is it'll start chasing that virus. And if it doesn't, even when it's immune suppressed, it'll start chasing that virus. And that's cool, because when it gets to the tumor, what the immune system does is it realizes that cell's now infected with that virus. And then what's the immune system going to do? It's going to start killing it. So it basically starts an immunoreaction that just starts annihilating cancer cells because of the simple virus that just got in there, because that's what your body does. That's actually it. That is oncolytic viruses in a nutshell. That's the first of the cool things we're going to be doing on this channel. Now that we've gotten out of basics, now that you know the basics, we're going to do the cool stuff. Like Joey, I think, was talking about carrier and modifying proteins. I know he's talking about proteins of some kind. I didn't look through all of his video yet the last time, and that's cool. This is starting to get into the cool stuff now. So hopefully you enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe. We'll hopefully have more videos out soon about all this cool stuff in cancer research. Thanks for watching.